Hey Dustin here, Smoking Eagles Round Shop, and today we're going to be switching gears a little bit. We've been working on my Buick an awful lot, and now it's time to work on the Shorty van. Now, did I just say now twice? Yeah, I meant it. Like right now, we have to get on this. I've got 2 weeks before the Michigan race, and I'm going to drive this van there. It's only about 2.5 hours one way, so yeah, it should be fine. Just swap the oil out. I took it to Ducktail last summer and it did great, and I was pulling the trailer full of swap meat Louie, so driving this thing down there with me and some sleeping bags should be good to go. But the hurdles that I need to jump today, the floor in this thing. Before I went to Ducktail, I patched the big ugly stuff. I welded that door all up. I'll put a link to that video up here and down here so you guys can go check that out if you haven't seen it already. But there's a few holes that I wasn't too concerned about, like these little ones here. And it's solid all the way around it. It's not like, you know, you're going to fall through there. But I want to put factory carpet in this. I have factory carpet for this in my white van outside. But I don't want water, rain, dirt, and debris to come up through these holes and A, continue to rot the floor out, and B, destroy my carpet. So I need to get these patched. I've also got some body mount issues kind of going on in this kind of area and that kind of area and maybe over there. But I'll tell you what, guys, if you've seen this van from the outside, it always amazes me at how good a shape this thing's in mechanically. It is in good shape. Like, I literally sprayed a little bit of lube on this body bolt. Came right out in like 5 seconds. If this was one of my freaking Chevys, it would have snapped off, broke off. I would have had to hack the whole thing out of there. But no, this damn Ford squirted a little oil on there, popped right out. I don't get it. It's like it wants to be worked on. Maybe that's where Fix or Repair Daily came from. They're just basically built to be rebuilt. I don't know. I'm not going to complain because a lot of things on this van that should have been and could have been a huge pain in my ass have actually been pretty easy. So I'm going to hop right on this. I don't know exactly how I'm going to fix this. The body mounts aren't bad necessarily. Okay, let's be honest. The body mounts are bad. The rubber bushings are just all cracked and whatever, but they're still there. And if I wasn't patching these holes, I would drive it anyway. I drive it all the time. It drives just fine, so I'm not worried about those. I'm not doing a full frame off restoration or anything like that. I just need to patch the floors so that the hole's gone and the bolt's actually pulling down and holding the body back on the frame instead of just being in the bushings and not really doing much. So last thing I want to do is go over the railroad tracks and the body go up and the frame go forward. That would not be good. We've already replaced all the floors in the front. I'll also link that video for you guys if you haven't seen that. And anyway, I'm going to quit yakking and start patching. I'm going to start with a piece of cardboard. I'm going to cut me a little template of what I think I need to do, mark it up pretty good, and then we'll start cutting, grinding, hacking. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. We're going to tackle that front one first. That's going to be the animal. Like I said, this bolt came out of there. In 5 seconds, just whoop, popped right out. So it needs a new washer on here because this washer's obviously not doing anything. And we just need to clean all the crusties out of here. We're not restoring this van. So we just need to clean all the crusties out of here the best we can. I'm going to make a patch that's going to overlap this all the way around it. We'll spray some kind of rust inhibitor on there and then slap our patch on. Boom. Essentially, you really don't even have to weld that patch on because we could just make it as a giant ass washer with the bolt down through the middle, and that would be good enough. I'm going to weld it around the outside just so that it's part of the body. But like I said, we're going to put carpet over it, so who cares? So that didn't take very long, and here is where we're at. I use the air needler and my air hammer and stuff. Clean this all up, wire wheel on the old angle grinder there. And this thing cleaned up really nice. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be. I just knocked everything loose off of here, blew it all out, cleaned it off really good. I was going to make a patch for this. I already cut a piece of cardboard for a template to patch this, but then I thought, man, I really want to spray some rust preventative stuff on this, and I think it'll be faster if I just do all my big major spots all at once. I can spray some stuff on them, and then while we make our patches, it'll all dry up good, and then I can just weld them all one at a time and just knock it all out. That one over there is going to be pretty ugly. So I'm going to put you back up on the time lapse again, guys. I'm going to knock all this dirty hard work out of the way and just get it done. And then we'll just assess the situation and we'll go from there. If we have to, we'll just slap a street sign over one of them or something. I don't know. We're going to make it happen like we always do. So keep on wrenching. Man, that was filthy. I knocked a ton of rust out of there. Got to wipe your eyeball off there. Can you see me now? Holy crap. Well, guys, got it all prepped. Got it wire wheeled. Got all the rusted stuff all knocked out of there. Now, how did I do it? Well, I only used a handful of tools. It took me a couple of hours worth of work. Basically, I got all the body bolts out, pulled them out. They all came out except I broke the weld nut off the bottom of that one over there, so I have to weld that back on the washer when we reinstall it. I used the air needler, knocked all the loose crap out of there. Then I took my air hammer and any of the edges where, like right here, we've got pinch welds to weld the body to the crossbar in there. It started to delaminate and kind of come up. We knocked all the loose garbage out of there, and then I took my air hammer and hammered it back down flat, and that knocked a bunch more of that loose crap out of there. That'll be fine. We put a patch over top of this and hide it under the carpet. As long as we put some rust preventative stuff on there and then put a top coat of paint over top of it, it's going to last another 40, 50 years. By then, I don't even care if it's rusted out. It'll be somebody else's problem, and it won't be my problem. So that's where we're trying to go with this. And I've got to be driving this like next week. So, yeah, the rust stuff I got. I don't know how good this stuff is. I bought it at Harbor Freight a while back when they had like their 20 or 30% off anything under $20 or something. I'm like, oh, this stuff's like $8 and I'll get 30% off. And I bought, I don't know, 4 cans of it or something. And yeah, we're going to spray that on all these big spots. All these big spots here, it recommends 2 coats. That's fine. I'll get 2 coats on there. Then we'll start making our patch panels. And then we'll kind of go from there. I also have Eastwood Rust, whatever stuff. And I'm going to spray that on the whole floor in here once we get all these patches in there. Oh, phone. And weld it up. So I need to quit yakking. I need to get the spraying that stuff on there so it can dry good. Right like that. It's going to hit all the big spots. Then we can start making patches once we get a couple coats of this on here. Hopefully I got enough. It's a little bigger spot than I'm going to do all the major stuff and let it soak in good. Alright, so I got paint on everything. This is that rust preventative stuff up here where it's you can still see the rust, but it's dark. And then this is just like VHT, chassis black, whatever, rust, whatever, paint-ish type stuff. I just wanted to get something over that. Then we'll just start making all our patches. And we'll weld them all in. And then we'll paint the whole thing with rust encapsulator. And it'll be done forever, as long as my forever is, and we'll seam seal the corners and all the fun stuff. But I wanted to show you guys kind of, this is what it looks like. Now these holes here, we got holes They're not huge. They're nothing super major committed to that yet. But first thing we need to do is get these patches. So I'm going to go find some steel, get a template cut, and figure out how we're going to put this profile into the metal the easiest way possible. So let me engineer a solution for that. I'll meet you guys back here. So here's patch number 1. It's going to be this piece of cardboard here. And all I did was cut a couple of slots in it, trim it down to size. The slots are going to allow the metal to bend up. I punched a hole in it where our through hole is going to be. It's going to go right down in here like this, just like so. I'll bend these tabs up like this and up over here on this side like that. Then I'll weld it all the way around. Then we'll just tap these down with the old hammer, and then we'll weld here, here, there, there, get it to look the way we want. If we need to trim it back a little bit, we can. Yeah, that'll be about perfect. And then I'll just get me an oversized big old washer to put underneath our new bolt. It'll go right down through there. Perfect. So I'm gonna go cut this out, get this patch panel made completely. I'm not gonna weld it in yet. I'm going to get all my patches made and do all my welding at the end. But that is perfect for this one. And then that'll be kind of the same way I do that one there. That is just a flat piece, and it doesn't actually affect our body there. All right, so I got all the patches cut out. I spray bombed the bottom of them all black so that they can't rust from the bottom out. Now some of that paint will burn off of there as I weld them in or whatever, but that's not a big deal. I just wanted to cover a large bit of the surface area. The other side I didn't paint because we're going to paint that at the end. I had a bunch of little patches to do to fill in all this little stuff in the back here, but yeah, it's time to get ready to start welding. So I'm going to get the welder all set up, get a couple of welding blankets in here just to kind of protect a few things, and we'll get to welding. So here's where we're at, guys. I got a bunch of patches welded in the back, small ones. Kind of worked on those first so I could get my settings on my welder set right and kind of figure out how this metal wanted to react with my rusty metal there. That is a little piece of advice I have for you if you're ever going to weld a bunch of rusty crap and new crap. You kind of got to figure out what it wants, you know, heat-wise and wire-wise and all that fun stuff. Once you get that figured out, then you can kind of wing it from there. So what I've got here is I've cut a piece of thicker steel here, welded a washer to it, drilled a hole in it. That washer is going to sit right down in the recess of this little body mount. I'm going to set it right down in there, and I'm going to weld it where I can to the existing whatever's left there. That'll weld on there really good. I'll spritz it with a little bit of paint. While that dries, I'll weld the next one. And then I've got this piece of patch, and I've cleaned it up, painted the bottom of it. We're going to lay it right on top of that, and we're going to weld it, grind it down. It'll look really nice, and we'll put our bolt in there. So it's kind of, this stuff's pretty thin, so I knew that if I put my body bolt back in here, and it had this big gap underneath it, it would really suck it down in there. And this stuff isn't really structural. It's not going to add a lot of strength to it, and we're kind of missing our strength portion of the body there. So that's what this is for with the washer. It's kind of doubling down, boom, boom. Our bolt will go down through there, and again, we're going to paint the whole floor and cover this with carpet so you'll never know. But that is, I wouldn't say it's a, you know, a SEMA fix, but it is definitely a permanent, you know, if you park this thing inside like I'm going to do, this is going to live till I don't anymore, and then it's not my problem anymore. So that was kind of the goal there. Yeah. Put you back up on the tripod, and I'm going to keep welding. I'm hours deep, and got hours to go. So, chop, chop. We're burning sunlight. All right, so I got the bottom patches welded in everywhere, and I got a spritz of paint on them. But I wanted to show you that. Oh man, she's a deep one, boys. That's why they want you to have guards on them angle grinders. Got my finger a little too close and gave her the... I felt it, let me tell you. It's pretty deep, but it'll be fine. It was a grinding wheel, so you can't stitch it together. She's a deep V. It's fine. I just put on a welding glove and then it's like it never happened. So let me show you what we got here. Got that baby welded in there. That's the sketchy one right by all the gas tanks, so I got her protected pretty good. Got the paint on there. It should be dried up. We got this one welded in here. It's good. I got that one welded in over there, and it's good. I did it last, so I'm going to come back over here and start welding the top patch, which is that one there. It's going to lay over top of there, weld it all the way around it. My word of advice is, like, that one has the hole in it and the washer, right? So I put the bolt in, tightened it up by hand, and then welded it in, so you know your hole's going to line up. Same with this. I'm going to set that patch on there, line it up the best I can, put the bolt down in, and then tighten the bolt down, and then weld that patch in place. Then I know my bolt is gonna work. It's gonna line up. You aren't gonna have to ream the hole out later or any jacking around. It's just gonna work, right? Then we'll come over, work on this one, work our way to that one, and then I'll figure out these fender wells where this gap is. See that gap down in between there? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's just rusting off at the bottom and trying to separate. I'm gonna put a bead of weld all the way across there, and then I'll cover it with seam sealer. Same over there. That one's a lot worse for whatever reason. But basically go underneath there with some vice grips, pinch her together, come back up here, put a weld across it. But I want to pull the back tires off so any slag or anything that may shoot down underneath the van doesn't melt a hole in our brand new tires, because that's an expensive mistake. And it will definitely wake you up if you haven't had your cup of coffee when a tire explodes, you know, 6 inches from your face while you're welding. So gonna avoid that catastrophe. Yeah. Just gotta keep welding. It's a lot. It's a lot. But when it's done, it's done. So keep on going. So here's where we're at so far, guys. I know it's been a lot of work on the old time lapse. It only seemed like a couple minutes to you guys, but it's been 6-8 hours probably, maybe a little more. I wouldn't think so, but here's the passenger side. It looks really good. Of course, I need to grind these welds down a little bit and make them a little smoother. The driver's side looks just like it. It's just a little bit bigger because the hole was a little bigger. And we've got that patch back there. I'm working on the back corner over here. It is the worst one. I've got a patch welded in the side of here. I've got a patch welded in here. We got a patch welded in there. We've got a patch welded in here where the actual mount is. Right here. And then I put the van on the lift. I took the driver's side wheel off. And then I fixed this fender well here. It was starting to separate where all the pinch welds were. So we got that all back together. We got metal bent down and tucked down in there. That's all tacked back up. I'm going to work on this side here in just a minute. You can see those big old gaps down in there. So what I'm doing is just taking the wheel off, and then I'm getting any rusty metal out of there that's kind of hindering the situation there. Take my angle grinder, cut those pinch welds out, clamp it back together, come up here and weld her back in. And then, like, in here, you can see we've got new metal in here. We've got new metal all in here where it was all rusted out. And then I ground it down, and I'm just going to spritz her with a little black paint when we're done. We got a couple of pinholes here that we're going to cover up with a patch. And this is all real thin here. It's still solid, but it's thin. I've coated it with paint, and I've got a patch panel that's going to go in there, and a patch panel that's going to cover all of this, and a patch panel to go over top of that. It's all right there. I spray bombed the bottom side of it, so This will be painted, the bottom side will be painted. That'll slow the rust down as best as we can. And then I'm not going to be able to weld back in this corner because that's the outside panel of the van, and it'll just cook the paint off. And this is a license plate patch panel that we have in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a row of rivets, aluminum rivets across that outside edge, and then when we seam seal all our welds, we'll seam seal right along that edge. I've also got some Pour 15 putty that I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill any like holes or screw holes from the old wood that they had screwed down. I'm not going to weld all those holes shut. I got Pour 15. It'll be perfect. So yeah, I've also got this little patch here to finish up. I've only got a few days left to get this done, so I need to get back on welding, making patch panels and all that fun stuff. Alright guys, so I almost forgot to tell you about this little trick that I am using. Now, we're trying to weld this fender back onto the van. The fender's rusted out, the bottom lip of the van is rusted out, so the metal's real thin, it wants to burn through. You either gotta load this thing full of wire, or you can get an old metal coat hanger, or like the old signs, the metal frames that go in those signs. Cut them down, you lay it right down in that gap, just like this. Now that does a couple of things for you. It gives you filler wire or filler material so that you don't have to use as much wire. It takes up that gap, and it also gets your weld up onto better steel. Now, that's not a guarantee. Some spots, like right down here, it's super crusty. You really got to kind of load it in there. But that's also one of the benefits of having different diameters of material. For the bigger holes, you can shove a little bit bigger filler in there, per se, and weld that rod in there. It'll save you a ton of time. It makes it a lot faster. I'm going to keep welding on this. I just wanted to give you guys that quick little tip. It will help you in many, many situations where you're like, oh, I cut my patch just a little too small, or oh, I got to fill this little hole here. So here it is finally time to paint the floor in the van. Now, I have a spray gun, and you can spray this stuff. This is rust encapsulator from Eastwood. Pretty expensive stuff, but it's super nice. It works really, really well, especially for situations like this. But I don't want to have to mask the seats off and the back doors and stuff and worry about overspray. I said, I'm just going to paint it on with a brush and a roller. So I went to Harbor Freight the other day, got one of the narrow 4-inch roller setups, cut the roller down to the width of my narrowest runner on the floor, and yeah, we're just going to roll it on there. I'll put a couple coats on there. I did go around and use my Pour 15 putty in anywhere where it was rusted, but it wasn't like a giant gaping hole. I just didn't put any filler metal in it because it's just rust in there. All the spots that look kind of sketchy, all my screw holes from the last guy that screwed a piece of plywood to the floor, I went and filled all those nail holes instead of trying to weld them all shut. There's half a dozen of them here, there, everywhere. Any big giant gaps that I couldn't weld shut, like right over there where it's directly over top of the gas tank. Not a big deal. That stuff's all going to work really well. So yeah, I'm going to wipe this down with a wet rag, and we'll stir this stuff up and start painting. This is when the transition's really going to happen. It's going to change from just looking like a patched up, rusty old van floor, and it's going to be all nice and black and uniform and almost look professional, and then we're going to cover it up with carpet. This is the best part. This is when you make the big transition. So just like this. And there it is. Perfectly black. Everything looks great. I've got the seam sealer in all the way around the edges. It's all sealed up. No more water's going to get in. Now I know there's some footprints on the floor. Ignore that. But look, you can't even hardly tell where I patched this thing. I mean, you got to really look. That black makes it blend in really, really nice. And I use that seam sealer to fill in a couple of pinholes here and there. Went over top of all my rivets on my license plate patches and stuff, just so water can't seep in anywhere. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. That was a lot of welding. I know at one point it looked kind of sketchy. You guys were probably like, man, this guy, what is he doing? He is gonna ruin this fan. But no, I didn't. I pulled it off like I always do. Yeah, I didn't, you know, flush weld these patches and all that stuff. You don't have to do that stuff, guys. Just get your projects done enough that you can drive them and then go from there. Anybody can have 8, 9 projects that don't run. I do. But this one does run and it drives, and we got her back on the street. She's going to be safe. We got to get some carpet in here. I got a camping trip in like 4 days, and I've only got to change the oil, mount a tire, put carpet in it, pack, and yeah. Really, the list is getting pretty short now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll post some other stuff around my melon here of things we're doing in the shop. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Go check out our Facebook group that we have going now. You can go in there. You can post pictures of your project, your buddy's project, your who knows what. I don't know what you're working on. A mini bike, a go-kart, a lawnmower, maybe a bicycle. Post it on there. We'll talk about it. We'll chat. You know, you guys can learn me some stuff because I'm definitely not a professional, as you can see. Don't forget, we got merch available on our website if you're interested in any of that stuff. And until next time, guys, keep on wrenching. Peace.